Greetings ladies and mental gents, and welcome to my channel, where I like to make audio narrations of various stories from the internet. In this video, we will be focusing on a story from the subreddit HFY, called Food for Thought Part 14, Lost Supper, written by Level 25 Human Nerd. A link to the original will be in the description down below. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Through me, you pass into the city of woe. Through me, you pass into the eternal pain. Through me, amongst the people lost for I. Justice, the founder of my fabric moved. The rear was what the task for power divine. Supremacist wisdom and primeval love. Before me, things create were none, save things eternal, and eternal I endure. Abandon hope, all he who enter here. Inferne, Dante Alighieri, 14C AD. Alex wanted to punch Reclo in her stupid feathered face. He wanted to keep punching until she stopped talking and left him alone. Not because she had insulted him, or because she angered him, but because she was right. He could tell himself all he wanted, that he volunteered for this to help them, to do what Sabari couldn't. But deep down he knew that the reason that he'd stepped forward was cowardice. High Command had moved him as an instructor position to keep him from putting himself in harm's way. They gave him what was supposed to be an acquired diplomatic role as a cultural cook to distract him from the events of 3 years ago. So of course he jumped on the first chance to go out like he thought he was supposed to back then. The human set the suit into the lock and went limp inside. Damn it, Robert, why'd you have to go and be a fricking hero? All you ever cared about was making sure that I did my best, and opening that damn deli in Montreal. But no, you had to go and jump on a fricking terrorist to save some old men and women in fancy uniforms. Pilot, are you in distress? I'm fine, Alice, I'm fine. Replace Scenario 7A, Variant 2, Hide Protocol. The moon was beginning to rise as Alexander moved himself into position at the base of the hills, crouching low near the boulder and gazing out over the stretch of the grassland between him and his target. In the darkness, he could see the occasional shimmer of the energy that protected the base from bombardment, the anti-air emplacements scanning back and forth dutifully. He'd have to pass through the barrier slowly to avoid being turned into a statistic early and putting an abrupt halt to the mission. But once inside, he'd have free rein to cause his due havoc. His HUD pinged 3 times, once for each fire team that got into position themselves. The infiltrators crouched low in the grass and the thermal cloaks hiding them from the sentry sweeps. The IFF tags on each team leader marking them position for him, and his timer began to tick down. With a deep breath, Alex made his way forward. He tried to focus on the job ahead, but what Reclo had told him continued to echo in his mind. Was he suicidal? Maybe. Was he hoping to go down fighting tonight? Probably. But he wasn't going to put the mission at risk, not when others were counting on him. What are you doing here, Alex? He knew that voice. It had shown him the ropes when he was assigned to Mars. It had helped him maneuver the politics of High Command. It had reminded him why he enlisted with the fleet in the first place. You're a cook. You should be up on the ship whipping up a good chili, not rushing in and making yourself into it. You did your duty. He crouched in front of the barrier. No alarms had gone off yet. No weapon fire had flashed out at him. What about the deli? Huh? We were going to head back to Montreal and open up it across from the McGill. Slowly, he passed his hand through the barrier and waited. Nothing. Exhaling slowly, he moved forward and readied himself for what would come next. What about Angelique? I always told you never had a chance, but we both knew that she was head over heels for you. You'd have to be made of great brother-in-law. Alice's mission timer was T-5 on the mark. Prep sequence, full thrust boost at 0, with a 3-flare spread, 330-000-030. Shift into vertical thrust at T+10. Countermeasures deployment at T+15. Weapons free on landing. Confirm. Confirm, sequence set. Stay awake, Alex. It's not time to meet up just yet. Mark. The Harpy's thrusters flared blue-white for a moment before braking locks disengaged and sent the suit rushing forward. The launcher mounted on the left shoulder, firing 3 high-intensity flares into the air before reloading HE. He was already airborne when the first alarms started blaring, his countermeasures exploding outwards to create an angel of light and heat behind him. His feet hit the ground 200 meters from where he had started, T+17 and counting. The Sabari were on the move towards the first objectives, and lights flared on the base ahead as troops and vehicles moved onto the battlefield, sirens and alarms joining in the growing chorus of war. Watermaster Rax snarled dangerously in his throat as his sensor operator scrambled back from her seat. "It's a demon! A monster from the cold abyss!" she cried, her feathers flattening in fear unbecoming of a warrior. "What are you sniveling about?" he demanded, rising from his seat as he marched towards the coward. He saw the fear in her eyes and was enraged that he was not the cause. "Demon War Master, it comes for us. Punishment for abandoning the Kundra." The female's words fell into the distributing gurgle noise as Rex's claws took her throat out. "Cowardice and weakness. I will not tolerate these things in my pack." He roared, moving to her station to see what was the cause of her fear. A chill ran down his spine. The cameras were filled with a white light. The night vision displays were being overloaded, and the thermals showed a creature flying through the sky. Its body pitch black with cold, a tail of flame stretching behind it, and carried by wings of light and fire. The demon that she called it. For a brief, terrifying moment, even the War Master thought so as well. As the creature began to distend, he turned to the communications operator. "Alert the pack. Eternal glory to the warrior who brings me the demon's head. Sister Hisk, it is time." His mate nodded and hurried to alert her friends, while the others rushed to raise the alarm, spread the word of the War Master's bounty, and to prepare to join the hunt themselves. Rek stalked to his chamber alone, a wide grin on his lips. He would feast well tonight. He could feel it in his claws. There would be bloodshed, the likes of which he would only see once in his life. Things were going relatively well. The infiltration teams were making good progress towards the enemy base. Alex was drawing all the fire, and no one seemed to have spotted the others. All in all, everything was going according to plan. This naturally worried the hell out of the human. The best laid plans never survive contact with the enemy. So what was he missing? What was the death of his plan? He jumped and shifted, the railgun barking as it snapped off a burst of shots into the chest of a charging warrior, his jets sending him sideways to avoid a rattle of the Sabari HMG. A few support vehicles and scouting craft had been fielded against him once they realized that the infantry alone wasn't going to take him down. He rushed in towards the base to renew the aggression, his launcher sending an HE round into one of the fast gun carriers. The carbine of the other shoulder seemed to laugh as Alice guided it wide, sweeping arcs. He was in the thick of it now, surrounded by hostile warriors and weaving in and out of fire to maintain the pressure as best he could. He let his shielding systems absorb what it could, dodging with the strafing and keeping it from draining faster than it could recharge. He turned away from the base to ping a few of the fighters he had passed on his way. The HUD showed all 3 fire teams had made it to their targets. Blue and red were making their way into the complex proper to begin getting their charges. Green was holding position near one of the central buildings, hunting for a service entrance. Green 1 to Green Leader, target located, holding position. Reclo's voice was a damn good thing to hear, and he flared his jets to get some altitude on a trio of gun trucks rushing him through all the tall grass. Copy Green 1, secure the target and stand by for the further. The sudden flash of red across his display interrupted the order. A lock-on alarm filled his ears for a moment, and then his world was swirling a maelstrom of heat and purple light. End of Part 14. If you enjoyed this story and wish to support the author, the link is down below. If you would like to support this channel, there are numerous ways to do so. They will also be listed in the description down below. But the easiest way to help this channel is to share it, subscribe, and like. And, as always, I will see you all in the next video, and I hope that you have a good one. Cheers!